But a lot of the headlines leading into this are surround, yes, the ghost of Israel Folau still haunting Australian Rugby Union, Shawnee. This, and the fact that there is talk with a vote coming with World Rugby that perhaps he could end up representing Tonga.
Correct. And Tongan coach Todai Kefu's already indicated that he will pick Izzy if he's available. So November 24, they go to a vote. So what this is set around is trying to give guys who've initially represented a Tier 1 country, let's go with Taniela Tupou as an example, because we all know big Taniela, Fozzie, I know you know him. Then going back and playing for a Tier 2 country like Tonga or, you know, Samoa. Obviously, Taniela's Tongan, and that's where Izzy is hoping to next represent at a test level with Tonga at the World Cup. Previously, it was a 3-year period that you had to sit out of the game before making that transfer back and qualify by sevens. If that vote goes through, there's every chance we'll see that man in the red of Tonga in 2023 in France.
I actually reckon take Israel Folau out of it because he excites passions on both sides. So if you take away that personality, and of course we hook this discussion on him because you know it's going to bring eyeballs. But if you take him out of it and you look at the actual rule change, I actually reckon it's a really good rule change. I think Australia and New Zealand in particular have benefited from the Pacifica players or those players with Pacifica heritage. To see them now be able to go back and represent those Tier 2 nations, you know, you just read through the scores overnight and Tonga got pumped. So it'd be great to see these Tonga, Samoa, places like that be able to, you know, build up their rugby and have them play with younger players. So I think it's terrific. And I know in netball we have a 4-year stand-down period. So there's probably room. And we've gone from that to, it used to be you couldn't play for 2 countries in the 1 year. So that was laughable. And then now it's probably swung too far back the other way. But I think in the interest of development, it's a good idea. But Foz, doesn't football have massive, like, we got really strict rules?
Yeah, well, reasonably. They became strict in the 20th century. People could play for multiple, particularly in the 50s, 60s, 70s, play for multiple teams. You had a lot of South American players coming across to Europe, for example, and playing for, you know, Spain and then later Argentina or something. They tightened it up in around 2004, where they said you can play as a junior for a country, but then once you make a choice for a senior team, then that's your choice. You can't go back on it. And one of the reasons was because we had so many brilliant Brazilians everywhere that many countries in the world were then recruiting them to try and you know, and they weren't real, if you like, national teams. Right? They would get them, pay a great deal of money, and all of a sudden you'd have these national teams coming up, but you know they weren't. They had
Brazil
no
A,
real
Brazil
ties.
B, Brazil C.
Exactly. Yeah. So then it became you have to have some type of connection to the country, and that's why I agree with you here. I think it's important for rugby anyway, and because you have to have what, a parent or a grandparent?
Yeah, a whole bunch of different qualifying eligibility rules around it. But to your point, Liz, it's not just Wallabies and All Blacks who've benefited. We now see these immensely talented guys out of the Pacific all across the world. France have got a whole group of Fijians that are going through with them who are killing it at the moment. So they are spread far and wide. They are immensely talented.
We are joined by Taniela Tupou now. Tim Horan's also popped down to the desk. Taniela, the rugby community certainly knows how to come together and support one another. What does it mean to you as a proud Tongan man to see the support that you've received from the rugby community?
Oh, I'm so grateful, man, you know, to all the rugby community coming together and help our, you know, Tonga. You know, like I said last week, that's what food is all about. You know, we go against each other on the field, but off the field, we're there for each other. So I'm so grateful.
But you're also doing your part. There's tries for Tonga, and tonight you crossed over as well. Is that also in the back of your mind, making sure that you can keep ticking that over and making sure some money keeps getting donated to your people?
I said at the start, you know, I'd love to score as many tries as I can, you know, so we can donate money for Tonga. But the boys, you know, did all the hard work, and I just happened to be in the right spot to score that try. So, yeah.
What are you expecting? Obviously, great here watching this pre-game, but what do you expect from Super Rugby Pacific this year with the way that the 2 new teams, of course, Fiji and, of course, when you look at Pacifica as well, what are you expecting from those 2 teams?
I mean, we know what the Fijian can do. You know, last night, you know, it's probably their first taste of Super Rugby. I'm sure they'll go away and then have a look at what they need to work on, and they'll come back a lot stronger. So that and the Pacific, you know, we also know what they can do. So I think round 2, round 3, we'll see a big difference from them. So
I'm not sure why I'm holding an umbrella for someone who's played in the rain for 80 minutes, but anyway.
But Nella, we saw you cross over. We mentioned that you crossed over tonight. There's also a little bit of an after-try celebration. I turned to the guys in the commentary box going, there was a bit of a rock the cradle type thing. Is there something you want to maybe tell the rugby community?
Well, not many people know, but there's a little blessing on the way. Got a little boy on the way, so.
Oh, that's that's fantastic.
We're looking forward to it.
Congratulations.
Congrats,
We're so thrilled for you. And you've even got family here. You've got the Taniela Tupou support club right here cheering you on.
Yeah,
almost half the stadium.
Half of them.
And I noticed you've actually got some new boots this season. You've retired the lucky boots.
Yeah, because, I've been looking for this for like 5 years, I love my white boots, and I finally found these, and you won't believe it, I've ordered about 15 of them. So, so I can swap whenever I want.
Surely you're not paying for your boots these days.
Mate, you'll be surprised I'm paying for my own boots, man.
So you're going to throw them away after every game? Is that why you got 15 pairs?
Nah. Maybe every 10 games?
Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
Well done.
Taniela, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on tonight and crossing for that try. 23 tries now scored so far in just 2 days of Super Rugby. $12,000 already going to the Tongan Relief Fund. Nick.
Time.
Take a shot.
Bell, Johnson, Holmes, there's Taniela. Injured his back in the warm-up.
Well, Harry Johnson, Home and Angus Bell, they must have been like Cheshire.
There's plenty in some of these hits. O'Connor on the in ball, dumming for it. Now he releases the rampaging Taniela Tupou for try number 2.
Face scripted play there from the Queensland Reds. O'Connor comes back blind, and the dummy or ball inside the Hunter Paisami is what creates the line break. And like all good tight head props do, Taniela Tupou is backing up on the outside hip of his number 10.
Kahui sends it across to Mataele with a bit of room to move now. Straight up the middle. Manasa Mataele finds Kahui. Back to Mataele. Into the 22. Banks makes a clutch tackle. And they finally shut it down. Just a metre short. They go out the back. Pasatoa. Kahui chopped. Strawn sends it across to Pulu. And Pulu dots it down.
And this is where it opens up. He finds his own player in the defensive line and he pierces through where Tom Robertson is, and he's off and gone. And then what was greatly impressive, Richard Kahui, there's life in the old legs yet. First one there, and he maintains composure, as of course he will. Mataele continues to back up. And then there's force players there in numbers. They keep the ball, they don't panic, and eventually it's the Brumbies that run out of numbers, and it's a looping Strawn that gets it to Pulu, and he can finish off at a great attempt by Rob Bell.
Coming for it. Now he releases the rampaging Taniela Tupou for try number 2.
Well, we need a toast. We really do. Seeing a tight head prop, no less, run it in from, 30, 50, 60. Was it 70 out in the end for Taniela Tupou at Amy Park? I think it might have been. And then the swan dive to you.
It was beautiful.
Taniela.
We're lucky he didn't get any more height.
Yeah, like that was special. That was a special little moment to you, Taniela. And it shook. Amy Park shook that night. I'm certain of it. Here's some of the footage from what rolled out that night down in Melbourne. So you see Taniela here, steamrolling it in, launches, bang. Bang. 7.8 on the Richter merch.
He's lucky he got a little touch from that trail foot. It could have been in the high 8s otherwise.
Tupou, he is also involved in try number 1. How can we forget this special moment where he showed some flair with Marika Korombeti against the world champion Springboks?
This was magic. This began back in their own 22. A couple of big carries. I think Pete Samu might have sent it a long way downfield, and they quickly recycled it. Then the no-look ball from Taniela to Marika. Oh, that is special.
Beautiful, isn't it? He was involved in everything, doing his core role in the scrums and lifting those big units and the line-outs. And then the whole crowd comes to their feet when they see Taniela. We'd seen him score tries. All of a sudden, he just flips it off. I mean, every defender, when they see Taniela running at them, and they just plant. I'm sure I would have been off defending the other side. Yours. But then he just pops that little pass. To be fair, it wasn't a bad tackle either, but he sent it away to Marika. Exciting stuff.
Let's move on to number 7, Riche Mounga. He absolutely carved up on Australian soil, in particular against the Reds. And look at his footwork here.
Yeah, just crazy feat on this guy. I mean, he's been a huge part of the Crusaders' success in the last 5 seasons and all their titles that they've won. Drives the game really well, uses the resources around him, and when he needs to, he can just absolutely carve teams to shreds. So, he did that so many times this year. He's just brilliant.
It was a beautiful little dummy, and then it was a goose step, and that mullet of his, it just flaps in the wind almost like a cape.
Does it add to it?
Yeah, a Superman cape.
What's good about those modern Crusaders fly halves, thus finally starting to put into place some of the initiatives we started about 20 years ago, and it's great to see those things come to fruition.
They're not 30 metres back in the pocket anymore. It's brilliant. No, he's the best rugby union player in the world, isn't he? Sure.
George Bauer over the top. Bertrand will look both ways. Chipping it cross field for Buffelli. What a finish from Argentina.
The All Blacks guilty of perhaps ball watching and forgetting about some space. Proof that this Argentinian side, if they do get a chance to hold on to the ball and get some momentum, they can explore every part of the field.
Montaya makes the stop, and it's a bit
Hold in front.
out in the Yankees, a little cross kick for Pereira Fati to pick up Conte. Stays in field and goes over. Now that is brilliant from the Springboks. Elton Yankees, the Pereira Fati, the finisher.
Excellent from Farsi. Really quality work.
Here's your mark.
Just ill discipline there from Los Pumas, and the All Blacks go quickly. Here's Rieko Ioane winding up, gets the ball away to Bridge, bounces off the first tackle. Malia holds onto the ankles. Here's Barrett. Barrett accelerates through. Still going, Beauden Barrett now throws an amazing ball out of the back of the hand, and Jacobson is in.
And what a great piece of skill, and what a great example of what makes this All Blacks side so great. Change the pace of the game, quick pace.
Hooper. Bellaton to the left hip. Tupou gets a chance to wind up. No look away for Marika Korombeti. Tupou, are you kidding?
Taniela Tupou probably didn't have to do that box office type pass, but that's why we love him. A highlight reel every time he takes the field.
Deep throw for the All Blacks. Webber. Barrett using beautiful feet, stays on his feet and finds Ioane. Ioane stays on his feet. Oh, brilliant! Simply superb
the brilliance of Barrett, and stayed on his feet. He gets knocked off balance there a little bit. Vermeulen got the support. Ioane was so quick up. He manages to stay on his feet. The support's there from Artie Savea. Mr. Everywhere, man. And over he goes.